Hello, welcome back. We are continuing in the Hardy Boys mystery Operation Survival by Franklin W. Dixon. We're on chapter 11. You better make the effort. And we begin. Joe. So how's Steve? Andrew asked when I returned to the bunk. Everyone in the place was in bunk lockdown until Saunders figured out what had happened at the boathouse. I'd been allowed out to visit Frank because I'm the one who pulled him out of the fire. Steve is feeling no pain, I answered. Usually I would have found it darn amusing to see Frank, aka Mr. Self-Control, all loopy, but considering he'd gotten that way on painkillers after almost dying, not so much. What were you guys doing out at the boathouse anyway? Ken asked. I definitely didn't want to tell Ken that I'd actually been out there because I was having a little heart-to-heart with the girl he thought was his girlfriend. Frank and I figured, well, let's face it, I had to do most of the figuring. Anyway, we figured Russell was looking like a very good suspect, but Ken was a decent second. I didn't want him coming after me because he thought I was after Janet. At least I didn't want that happening until I had Frank to watch my back. What aren't you telling us? Russell demanded. I'm not telling you that I was in the woods to sneak a pee, okay? I shot back. It was the first thing that popped into my head. If Saunders caught you peeing in a non-designated area, we'd be on KP duty forever, Andrew said. He likes his rules. Yeah, that's why I didn't tell you. I don't need another lesson. Andrew looked away, like he was ashamed of what he'd done the night before. James didn't look away. He glared right at me. I think you do need another lesson. You better start thinking about what's good for the team, not just what's good for you. It was good for my teammate Steve. I was around. It was good for my teammate Steve. I was around, I answered. The boathouse was locked tight. Someone wanted that guy dead. I looked over at Russell. Why are you looking at me? Russell asked. Well, you were voted most likely to play with matches in the camp yearbook, Andrew commented. He took off his glasses and polished them with his shirt. So what? I'm the only guy in the place who knows how to light a fire. Russell raked his hands through his hair. Unbelievable. Not so unbelievable, James said. How many arson arrests have you had? Before Russell could answer or launch into one of his spit-flying hissy fits, the bunk door swung open. Saunders and Smiley walked in. Saunders gave Russell the hairy pointer finger. Pack your gear. You have disgraced yourself. You've given up the privilege of being part of my program. The boathouse, right? Russell punched at the wall. Of course, 'cause I set it on fire, right? 'Cause I set a fire once, of course I'm going to do it again. Once? James repeated softly. Russell glared at him. Are you saying you feel unfairly treated? Saunders asked him. Are you saying I've misjudged you? Hell yeah, I am, Russell yelled. Show him, Saunders told Smiley. Smiley pulled a piece of cloth from his pocket. Then he walked over to Russell's footlocker, opened it, and pulled out a shirt. Same color as the piece of material. I think even Frank in his current state would have figured out where this was going. Smiley held a strip of material up to the shirt. It wasn't exactly like putting a piece into a jigsaw puzzle, but it was close. We found this, Smiley flapped the piece of cloth in Russell's face, at the boathouse, along with some footprints that match the tread and size of your hiking boots. You'll have a trial, of course, Saunders said, but you won't be coming back here. This is a place for men who want to take charge of their lives and make a change. Start packing. I did not set that building on fire. If I had, I damn sure wouldn't have left a piece of my shirt behind, said Russell angrily. Smiley grabbed a gym bag out of Russell's footlocker and started throwing stuff in. Less than 2 minutes later, Russell went bye-bye. And that was it. He's gone. He's in juvie. James dropped down on his bed and stared up at the ceiling. It's not like you actually care, is it? Andrew asked him. That could be me. That could be any of us, except I'd be heading off to prison. Prison, James repeated dramatically. You don't really have to worry about it as long as you don't burn down any buildings, I told him. James leaped off the bed. You just don't get it, do you? That's not how it is here. Saunders is king, and the king can do what he wants. He can send me out of here because he doesn't like the smell of my socks. Wish I could, Andrew said. Your socks are ripe. I laughed. So did a couple of the other guys. You need to stop laughing, James told us. You need to believe me when I tell you that if anyone does anything that puts me at risk, I will bring the apocalypse down on you. You heard Saunders the other day. He can and will toss an entire team if he feels like it. James directed a lot of that little speech at me, and he kept going on. Saunders booted a guy a while ago because he lost some swimming race. He didn't like that the guy was being a good team player. Didn't think the guy put forth the effort. Well, everyone in this bunk is putting forth the effort on everything. He walked over to me, moved me close. At least he didn't spit the way Russell did. You better make the effort, he told me, or you're going to end up with more than those few little bruises we gave you. Chapter 12, Riding the White Water. Frank. This is where it's all going to take place, Smiley said. The dead river. The team was lined up next to our canoes. We'd hugged them from the camp vans over the edge of the river. Tomorrow, we race Gruber's team from this point down to the forks where the Kennebec meets up with the dead, Smiley continued. I couldn't help thinking back in the day Joe and I got our mission. The way he joked about ATAC giving us a vacation. Even though I'd just gotten out of the infirmary, I was getting a little bit of vacation vibe. Joe's and my top suspect have been sent to juvie, and today we were forced to spend time on this awesome river. Yep, I might want to do more investigating, but I couldn't. For the next few hours, it was going to be all haystacks, sieves, holes, and waves. I couldn't wait to get paddling. I don't think I need to tell you that this team needs to win tomorrow, Smiley said. The team has been a disgrace. The team needs to redeem itself. This team or you, I thought. You'll be battling more whitewater per square mile than in any other river in the east. Smiley started pointing a pair of guys toward their canoes. The dam's been released, so that will make things extra challenging. Are you up for the challenge? There was a few muttered yeahs. I didn't say anything. Steve wasn't an enthusiastic guy. I had to keep reminding myself not to smile. It was hard. More whitewater per square mile than any other river. How could you hear that and not want to grin like a maniac? Smiley pointed Joe and James to a canoe. That wasn't going to be fun for my brother, but maybe he'd find out something worth knowing, like whether or not James should be on our list of suspects. I said, "Are you up for the challenge?" Smiley bellowed. He got a slightly louder response, only slightly. Smiley scowled. He was clearly angry. But what was he going to do? Assign us push-ups for yawing too softly? You'd better be. If we lose, you'll all be getting up an hour earlier for a nice morning run. That got a response. Some nice loud moans. Smiley slapped a life jacket in my hands. You and I will have to pair up. I'm putting you new boys with experienced paddlers until I see you handle yourselves. Tim, you're strong enough to get solo. Okay, so I'm going to end right there, and I will pick up where I left off and be right back with you. Bye.